So, she's hunting down the entire grounds, it seems like, for her interesting husband, Harold, who was really into eating fish food and talking to rabbits, as one does. She's looking around for him, finds his little cleavered body, and backs up against the door, which of course has a little window in it. Surprise! Hand comes through the window, grabs her face, and then a knitting needle stabbed right through the back of the head. Oh, I thought that was pretty darn cool.
This is Opening Kill. The following program contains mature content, explicit language, and detailed discussion of on-screen deaths. Spoilers are unavoidable. Listener discretion is advised.
And welcome to Opening Kill, our bonus episode. Happy Friday the 13th. My name is Brian O'Connor, joined by researcher Shay Astor on our bonus episode. Shay, how's it going?
It's going great, Brian. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday the 13th. We get 3 of them this year. This is the second of 3. So love it when that happens.
Oh, me too. And of course, spending it with you and watching some of our favorite movies, always the best.
A lot of movies that I introduced to you, I think, when you were probably too young to be.
A little bit,
Shay,
yeah.
Shay, go home and watch this.
Watch this. Or when we did our mega movie marathons, yeah, we were watching these guys at for me, a very young age, but I think for you as well.
Yeah.
So we're passing on the tradition. It all makes sense.
That's exactly right. So I'm glad I could be such a bad influence on you. And here you are today.
Always.
Well, it is our bonus episode, so we are going to get into it right away here. And every time we have a Friday the 13th, we obviously cover a Friday the 13th movie. And we are up to part 3 now. So,
yeah.
And our friend Stephanie Rose is a huge fan of this one. So I don't know if she'll enjoy listening and watching this one as much as she might if she were on it. But Stephanie, I apologize ahead of time. Get that out of the way. All right. Part 3, Just the Facts, directed by Steve Miner. He directed part 2 as well. Written by the husband and wife team of Martin Kitrosser and Carol Watson. This was released in theaters August 13th, 1982. The first film to remove E.T. from the top of the box office and become the second highest grossing horror film of 1982 behind. Do you know, Shay?
Oh, no. Don't put me on the spot, Brian. No, just tell me. Oh. I knew that. Dang it.
The film was released in 3D in select theaters, the only film, thank God, in the franchise to ever be released in that format. And because of the 3D filming, it took months to complete. And it actually got so ridiculous that it got to the point where the 3D effects, getting them right, took precedence over actors' performances. And seriously, the actors could do the line however they wanted, and it didn't matter because they just wanted, the director and the producers just wanted to get through it because of all the 3D crap they were having to deal with. You imagine how?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I didn't see it in theaters. I've never seen the 3D version. I didn't have a 3D TV, when those came out. So I've never seen it, but it just looked not fantastic. But yeah. 95 minutes long, rated R, obviously. They filmed it in California, making it the first Friday the 13th film not to be shot on the East Coast. And also the first Friday the 13th to feature Jason's iconic hockey mask. And the only Friday the 13th movie where none of the characters actually say the name Jason, interestingly enough. So, fun fact. It stars Tracy Savage, Dana Kimmel, Catherine Parks, and Larry Zemer, with archival appearances from Betsy Palmer, Amy Steele, John Fury, and Steve Daskovitz. And Amy Steele was supposed to come back. This movie was supposed to be about her character, Ginny Fields, and she said, nope, don't want to do it. So she didn't, and they rewrote it. So
what a pivot,
that.
Honestly.
Yeah, probably a smart move on her part.
Who
Although
knows?
it would have been It would have been interesting, I guess, to see what they did, what their original plans were for it. But yeah, it was made for $2.3 million, and it ended up making almost $37 million at the box office. So, very successful. Critics were not very kind to it, especially the 3D version of it, because as you said, apparently the 3D effects didn't look great, but that's what they did. So, and the tagline is also pretty weak, playing on the whole 3D theme here. Tagline was "A New Dimension in Terror."
Oh my God. The biggest eye roll. Yeah.
Right?
All
It was
right.
nominated for 2 awards. Here's the catch. Those nominations didn't come until more than 20 years after its release, and they were technical awards for the DVDs and Blu-ray releases. So there you go.
I mean, I do own the DVD that it comes with the 3D glasses. That was pretty
Oh,
darn
you
cool.
do?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Now,
I know
see,
you got to
I
come
didn't
over
even,
next time.
let me hop on a plane and head your way. And
It's super fast. Shut up.
So, film summary, you could probably say this about most of the Friday the 13th movies. Jason Voorhees stalks a group of friends who have just arrived to spend the weekend at a cabin near Crystal Lake. So,
Hey, they're not camp counselors this time. That's
they're
different.
not. Okay, that's true. That's true. So we get into this, and like the part 2, the first 6 minutes of this movie, it's all archival shots from the previous film to get you caught up. I guess they needed to fill those extra minutes with something, and so that's what they did. And it follows the events of the previous film. We have Jason Voorhees, who is badly injured, still recovering from his confrontation with Jenny Field, staggers to a nearby lakeside store in search of new clothes, as one would do if you're Jason Voorhees. And after kind of playing cat and mouse a little bit, he murders the shop owners. We have Harold, who is this.
The opening kill.
And that's your opening kill. Harold takes a cleaver to the chest. I'll tell you what, it was a clean butcher knife kill for me. So that's it. It is. It's just going to be a butcher knife because it was nice. It was clean. It was bloody. It did what it needed to do.
See, I think I like Edna's kill here better. So I'm going to give it a butter knife.
Okay. That's absolutely fine. So tell us about Edna's kill that you liked so much.
I mean, okay. So she's hunting down the entire grounds, it seems like, for her interesting husband, Harold, who was really into eating fish food and talking to rabbits, as one does. So, she's looking around for him, finds his little cleavered body, and backs up against the door, which of course has a little window in it. Surprise, hand comes through the window, grabs her face, and then a knitting needle stabbed right through the back of the head. Oh, I thought that was pretty darn cool.
It was pretty cool. And I wish I wish it had been first, because it would have been a better butcher knife. I was kind of on the fence, but I thought, just a clean kill with a cleaver. So
you're so easily swayed, Brian. Jesus.
I know. I did the same. So here's the deal. Yesterday when we dropped Haunt, I did the same thing. I actually gave it a butter knife, but Stephanie and Michael actually convinced me to go back and give it a butcher knife kill. So, and I did, but I'm not going to go back on this one. I'm going to keep this as a butcher knife kill.
You stick to your guns or meat cleavers or whatever you want to call it.
My deadly weapon. Meanwhile, Chris Higgins returns to her family's lakeside property, cleverly entitled Higgins Haven, with a group of friends for a summer getaway. The group includes Chris's boyfriend, Rick, pregnant Debbie and her boyfriend, Andy, awkward prankster, and my least favorite character, Shelley, and his reluctant date, Vera, who didn't even know him. It's kind of like a blind date that their friends set him up with. And she took one look at him when they went to pick her up, and she's like, great. We also have two of my favorite characters, laid back stoners, Chuck and Chili.
What a name.
Man, they're great. I don't know if they're married or not, but they're together anyway. They're a couple. And they all are on their way to the lake. Along the way, they encounter a very strange local man who decided to just take a nap in the middle of the road. And they almost hit him in their big old van.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we get to see Abel, who is definitely the rebranded Crazy Ralph. I miss my Crazy Ralph, though, honestly.
Yeah.
He doesn't hold a candle, honestly, to this guy. But yeah, for some reason, Abel decides to speak his harrowing words of death is going to be following you. Don't go. Return to whence you came. And he has an eyeball with him, and it's of course one of the great 3D effects of holding it up to the camera. They had to shoot that like 6 different times to get it perfectly right. Couldn't be me. I'd give up after the first 2 times for sure.
Right.
But whose eyeball is this? This is my question. We never really get an answer. Is it from the 2 we saw murdered earlier? How did he get the eyeball? Never answered. Yeah. Everyone just keeps moving on. Literally, the characters just go, all right, bye, and go on past. And that's it.
And we don't see him again, right? That's his only appearance in this film.
Yep, his harbingering days, if that's the right word for it, they're long gone.
Right.
Bring back Crazy Ralph.
Bring back Crazy Ralph. I was very surprised and disappointed they killed Crazy Ralph off in the second one, but you know. Oh well, I guess
we make it to the lake, and they are not camp counselors, so they get a little more free reign this time. And it's just a beautiful lake, which they built this entire property, the barn, the house. They even built the lake. It looks disgusting.
Yes,
it looks more like a swamp. And you can definitely tell it's California and no longer filmed in New Jersey. Thought that was kind of a strange move, honestly, because it doesn't look anything like the last 2. I understand the idea that it's a different part of the lake, but it's like the grosser part of the lake. We'll say that it's more of a swamp. And apparently, it did flood. They did not build this man-made lake very correctly. So the water kind of fell into the grounds and made everything swampy and muddy for the rest of filming. And it caused problems. Like all of their equipment started sinking. They had the big rigs starting to fall over. It was kind of a hard deal. I don't know why they chose to do that, but here we are. Well, it's actually beautiful, though.
Yeah. The reason they moved it to California was because they were filming this in 3D and they needed to be close to the studios and to people who knew that technology and could step in and help correct course when it went off. But that doesn't seem like this did any good because it still looked bad in the end as far as the 3D effects. But yeah, you're right. It's interesting. And they filmed this in January and February. So it still had some chilly nights. And there were some scenes that had to be cut because you could see the actor's breath. And so they didn't have money to digitally remove that, or really that technology wasn't fantastic then. So
very true.
Yeah, so it's kind of an interesting deal. But yeah. So we're at the man-made lake and everything's great. Shelley and Vera, and let me just say, Shelley is like this prankster who's always trying to scare people and just, he definitely has some issues, some self-esteem issues, I'm sure. He just wants to be loved, but nobody loves him, except the 2 friends that brought him. But the girl that they're trying to hook him up with really doesn't want too much to do with him.
Nah, he's kind of, like, there's even a line about, you're being an asshole. I'm not an asshole. I'm an actor. Yeah, all right, buddy. You're an asshole. Right. Okay. But he does. He continuously pulls very weird pranks that nobody's laughing at. But it's like one of that thing of bad attention is still attention. He's one of those guys. I feel like we all know someone like that. We never want to be like that.
Right.
But it does end up happening. There's always someone in the friend group. Kind of like a pick me, or a lot of people were saying online this was like the original nice guy, where he's very nice and wants all the attention, but as soon as you say no, he's kind of like, Well, fuck you then.
Right. Right. Exactly. No, that's right.
Mhm.
So, but Shelley and Vera, the girl who got set up with him, they decide they need to go to a store. So they hop in one of the friends' cars and they go to a store, a little convenience store, and they clash with a trio of bikers by the name of Ollie, Fox, and Loco. And they're definitely a colorful bunch, and they have a little skirmish of sorts inside the store. And Shelley humiliates them by knocking over their motorcycles with the car, which is this little, it's a VW Bug. It's just this, I think it is, isn't it?
Yep.
I think it's yeah, it is. Yellow one. And so that leads the bikers to eventually follow them back to Higgins Haven. And they go to seek revenge that night to get back at him. And as they attempt to sabotage the property, they unknowingly or knowingly enter the barn where Jason has been hiding out, just kind of keeping to himself. You know, it's kind of one of those things where if you don't bother him, maybe he won't bother you for a little while. But problem is they bothered him.
They did, yeah, a little bit.
Little bit. First one is Fox. And for kill number 3, pitchfork through the neck. You know, we don't get too many pitchfork kills, so this is a nice one to have here.
Yep, but we get another one right after, so.
Loco gets a pitchfork to the stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ali is just badly beaten and left for dead, which, you know, we'll find out.
That's kind of strange for Jason. He normally is pretty good about finishing off people. People are really bad at finishing off Jason, but it is weird that he doesn't finish off the last of the trio.
Right.
But yeah, we know why he comes back at the end.
Absolutely.
We'll get there.
Yes, we will. Later that night, Chris and Rick take a walk through the woods, and we get a flashback that goes on far too long. It's a scene that never ends, and I have to say the acting is not top-notch in this overall in the film, but this flashback especially. And Chris reveals that she had a terrifying encounter 2 years earlier with a disfigured man near the lake, an experience that forced her to leave the area. So returning to Higgins Haven was her attempt to confront all of this trauma that she's been carrying around with her. Again, this is a very long scene, and we see it's Jason, who was obviously the disfigured man who attacked her, and somehow she got away, and that's that. But yeah, that's
the
easily
weird part.
Yeah, right?
That
so I
she
don't
got
know.
away.
Yeah.
So we wonder, if this is more of like a revenge plot for Jason, if he's just been waiting there for this entire time for her to come back to finish the job, or if it's just really bad timing all around.
Right.
We'll see.
Back at the house, Shelley once again tries to scare Vera with one of his pranks, this time wearing what? A hockey mask. There it is.
No way.
Right? And
it is pretty
later,
crazy that this is where it starts. It was just something he brought as a costume piece, because he did. He had his whole little magician's bag full of crap. And one of them just happened to be a hockey mask. It was a strange pull, but it does make sense on the backside of things. They were trying to find a new mask for Jason. Because the sheet over the head could only work for the one movie, and I get that. I mean, it was time to go.
It was. We mentioned this on our last Friday the 13th episode. It was too much like The Town That Dreaded Sundown. It looked just like it almost, and so time to move on. And obviously the hockey mask has become Friday the 13th. It's just that you see a hockey mask, and that's the first horror movie you think of. You know, just iconic.
And whether or not they knew they were doing that is crazy.
I wonder if they knew what this franchise, where it was going. If they knew, I mean, I'm sure the studio, after they saw the box office receipts, went, oh, hey, we're on to something. And that is why it went on as long as it did. And it's still going today. I mean, Camp Crystal Lake is in post and right now. And So they're still developing this, but yeah, I don't know if at the time if they really knew how big this franchise was going to get and how iconic all of these things were. That's a good question. So, but yeah, the hockey mask. And you mentioned this earlier that it's the only time we see a pristine hockey mask because over time it becomes, more grungy and more dark.
Mhm.
Not like the one hanging behind me, all nice, white and shiny. So, yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And it is funny at the final confrontation here, we get a little bit of a something hits the mask and makes a mark, and it's in every single rendition up until I think the reboot, of course.
Hmm.
Um, it's in every single one that they left the mark there, and it's from this movie where it began and where it ends. Like, I think that's kind of cool. They
Yeah,
left
I do
that
too.
singular mark, and of course, more marks are added because things continue to happen to this guy, whatever he is, supernatural or not. We'll
Right.
see.
That's the debate. So later, Shelley goes out to the barn and Jason kills him. And
Thank God.
so I know it's like, but we don't see it. Do we see it?
No.
This
Nope,
is
we
the
don't see that
off-screen
one.
kill. This is the
Mhm.
off-screen kill.
Which is kinda sad
Um,
because we all I don't think anyone really liked him, so I would
right.
have liked to see him die. But his
Yeah.
death, he comes back wandering in way later, so somehow he survived a little bit,
Right.
but he does end up dying. But we don't get to see
Yeah.
the actual, like, hit that does it to him.
Exactly. Yeah.
But we do see Jason with the iconic mask on walking out
Yep.
to the lake, uh, where Vera is trying to catch his wallet that fell into the lake.
Yes.
For
Exactly.
I don't know why, but she's standing there going like, "What are you doing?" And then realizes really quickly, that ain't Shelley. So,
Right.
who are you is what she says as she stands there in the lake as he aims. What was the weapon?
It's a
Was it
spear
like a
gun.
yeah, it's a good old I was going to say harpoon, but I like yeah,
Well,
spear
not
gun.
too far off. I mean, yeah, but Harpoon's a little bit bigger, which would have been funny because it would have
I think
like
that would have
taken
been
her head off
hysterical.
probably.
Yeah. But instead, he sits there and he aims for a good solid minute, gets his aim right, and then of course we follow the spear as it shoots. Another 3D effect. Woo.
Yep. Yep.
As it boom hits her in the eyeball and she falls back into the water dead.
Yes.
I thought that was
Kill
pretty cool actually.
kill number 5. That was pretty cool. So we go back inside and Andy and Debbie are getting ready to have sex in
Mm.
this hammock and they aren't sure how to do it. So
I wouldn't either,
interest
honestly.
that's kind of I mean, you really have to figure that out. I'm sure, I mean, I know it's been done. I'm sure it's been done, obviously, but it takes great skill and, wouldn't hurt to be an acrobat either, I would think at this point,
Mhm.
to do this. Interesting. The actress who played Debbie, she retired from acting after this and became, I believe, a counselor or journalist. I think she went into journalism. And one of the things that she said was she was very uncomfortable filming her nude scenes because she's got this scene and then she has a shower scene. But she said many, many years later, like decades later, she goes, actually looking back at it, it's all right because it reminds me of how great my body was. So,
I feel like
but
hers was a classy nude scene.
it
It
wasn't,
wasn't
yeah,
yeah, it wasn't too graphic or, no one cutting off a boob or anything like that. So,
right. Exactly. So they have sex and then she gets up to go take a shower and he's now performing handstands and walking around. He comes into the bathroom and he's standing there on his hands and she whips the curtain open and, he startles her. And did she ask for a beer? Is this one of those classic, give me a beers? Yeah, that's what I
mhm.
thought.
Yeah.
And so he takes off and he ends up getting split in half with a machete while he's walking around on his hands for kill number 6. So,
The
yeah,
filming of this one was pretty impressive, honestly, because they did one of those fake bottom situations. So we saw him on his hands and the angle coming downwards, and then making full prosthetics to do like the half torso. It
Mhm.
was actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
But the fact of like, you know what, I just had sex on a hammock and now I'm just gonna walk around doing handstands was weird motivation for me. I didn't really feel it. I never had
No,
that feeling myself. Maybe my sex has never been that good. I don't know. Never had the like, oh man, I gotta walk around on my hands for a bit.
it was pretty weird. I will give you that. Yeah. So
But then,
she
of
gets out of
course,
the
she has to
yeah.
find out. So let's hear what happens.
Well, she gets out and gets dressed and goes back to the hammock, and she's laying there reading a magazine. And we've seen this in lots of Friday the 13th movies. You see the blood all of a sudden drip from above and land on the magazine, and she's like, "What the hell?" And he is beneath the hammock, and how she didn't see him to begin with is a great question to ask. But yeah, it's the end of her because he drives the knife up through the hammock where
Yep.
she's resting, and boom, done. Kill number 7.
Yeah. It's a drawback once again to good old Kevin Bacon's death, my personal favorite from the series so far, at least.
How did that
Where
effect look to you? Because it shows her, her head and chest and everything, and then the knife
yeah,
comes up.
you know, it was fine. The fact that we've seen it in all 3 movies, though, now it's kind of getting old at this point. I know they're doing more of a throwback situation. I don't feel like at this point it's working. So, it was kind of like, whatever. I mean, oh, it's on a hammock this time. Ooh, that's so
Mm-hmm.
different. Yeah, it wasn't
Right.
enough. But they did the same exact thing of having the actress, there's a hole in the hammock, they have the regular body, and I did hear though, okay, so I get it, with the 3D stuff, they have to have everything lit a lot lighter than what we normally have in horror movies. For the effects to work, everything has to be brighter, which takes away from the scare factor, in my opinion. But the lighting is really strange in this movie. You can tell, even if you're not watching it in 3D, like most of us have to now. I don't know anybody who owns a 3D TV anymore.
Researcher
Um,
Danielle, her dad has one.
Danielle, we got to come over. All right.
Yep. Yep.
But I did think it was interesting how they filmed this with like the latex um, and everything, the lights coming on it, and you can see the latex ripping in a weird way if you look really close.
Okay.
But at this point, I'm kind of like, yeah, all right, we know the gag. It's fine. Let's just move on to the next
Yeah.
one.
Right.
Which is kind of sad because we love when they first did this effect, it was so revolutionary and so cool. And now we're already bored of it by movie 3. That's not a good look.
Right.
But that's just my opinion. So
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, once is great. Twice, it's like, oh, that's cool. Although we saw it before. And then the third time, it's like, okay, now they're just relying on this, this little shtick going on here. So
had to have
yeah.
it.
Yep. Well, Shelley wanders now into the kitchen from outside. So his little encounter with Jason was not complete. Again, it's odd that, Jason would have just left him there not dead, but he wasn't dead. His throat did get slit. And Chili is in the kitchen and she thinks he's just pranking her. And then he falls down. And even after he goes down, she's like, yeah, whatever. Stop it. I'm tired of this. In the meantime, her partner, husband, boyfriend, whoever, Chuck,
Whoever
goes
it
to the
is.
basement to investigate a power outage. And, well, Jason's obviously down there and he is thrown into the fuse box by Jason, electrocuting him. And then Jason just wanders on upstairs to find Chili. And we have a very hot fireplace poker. And we had a couple of these in Haunt yesterday. And now we have one here in Friday the 13th, part 3. And Chili is now no more.
It is funny though, we do get to see more electrocuted deaths in the rest of this franchise, but this was kind of the first one. So
Right.
It was the beginning of a new trend. We kind of get away from the hiding under the bed little skit that they always do. And now we get death by electrocution, which is kind of
Right.
always throws it back to to good old Lost Boys for me.
Oh,
Death by
yeah.
Stereo.
What a great movie and a great scene in that movie.
Always.
So Chris and Rick end up returning to the house from their little nature walk at night, and they find it in complete chaos. Rick steps outside to search the property, and Jason suddenly grabs him, and he's got him. This is kind of funny. He's standing there, and he's got him, and he's got it. Jason has his hand over his mouth so he can't scream as Chris walks out and starts calling for him. And then we see Jason just crush his skull with his bare hands.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, this was a pretty great effect. They had, and like, it doesn't matter for people, I think, like us, we're looking for the effects sometimes, even if they're like really impressive. No, when they are really impressive, you avoid looking at the wires and the strings. So you can technically see, of course, this is a prosthetic head, and they made it so it was collapsible. And then someone was in charge of triggering the eyeball that shoots out of his head and towards the camera. Once again, had to do it multiple times to get it perfectly right for the 3D effect. But it's on a wire, and you can, if you look close enough, you can see the wire. But it doesn't matter. It's so much fun to watch. I rewinded, and I had to watch it like 5 times. It was way too good.
Okay. I got to go back and watch it because I didn't see that.
Well, look at you. All right. Yep. Another rewatch in store for Brian over here.
Okay. We'll do it. And let me just say, if we'd had the Abel scene next, then the eyeball would make more sense on where he got it. But we didn't. So I can only assume Jason did this to somebody else and the eyeballs flew and Abel picked one up and that's where he got it. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Once again, that still doesn't make sense. But whatever.
It really doesn't. Well, Chris attempts to escape in the van, but the vehicle has run out of gas. However, she realizes there's a reserve tank. So she flips a switch and she's able to start it just as Jason gets to the side of the van and grabs her throat. And she rolls the window up on him. The thing is, though, if you watch this, he's got his hands, the window is all the way down. His hands are in around her throat. It cuts to her hand on the window roller upper thingy. She does it one time. And when the camera cuts back, it's already all the way up. So that's one hell of a power window. I guess you just go around once and it like, boom. There it is.
Yeah, my old cars never had that much power to it.
But no.
Maybe this one did. Who knows?
So he's stuck with his arms in the window. She gets out and starts to run away. And then he just takes his hockey mask and headbutts the window to break the glass. Yeah. And then he takes off after her. And they end up inside the barn, leading to the final confrontation. So here's my problem. She goes in to the barn and she runs up the ladder to the second story of the barn. Huge bales of hay up there. And she puts one over the trapdoor. Now, that's not going to stop him. I mean, and it doesn't. But then she just hides instead of standing there with the weapon. She's got a pitchfork or she's got a shovel or something. She goes to hide from him. And when he comes up, that bale of hay looks like it weighs maybe a half pound, if that, because it goes flying. A little too unrealistically light, but yeah.
I also think it's weird because they set it up multiple times that there is a hook on a pulley system right out that upper window. And she even earlier when she's like flirting with Rick, she goes up the pulley system and then back down. In my head, I was immediately thinking she's running up, blocking the way, and then we'll be running back down by using the pulley system to get to the bottom floor. But no, she just goes and hides. Even though we just watched this man or being or whatever Jason actually is, like trash the place looking for her. He's immediately going to go look for her.
Right.
I don't know why she would hide, but she was being kind of smart. She had some weapon work already, stabbed him a few times in the leg and the hand. So it was a weird final girl move, honestly. But
a little bit, yeah. So they struggle, and Chris actually knocks Jason unconscious with a shovel and manages to hang him with that rope that we were just talking
the pulley
about.
System. Yeah.
Yep. Jason soon revives, which is kind of odd, and frees himself. Well, I guess it's not odd. We're talking about Jason Voorhees. And he briefly removes his mask, allowing Chris to recognize him as the same disfigured man who attacked her years earlier. I would think she would have already put that together, but she hasn't. So, yeah. And just as Jason regains the upper hand, Ali from one of the motorcycle dudes from the beginning who, got beat up, pops out and tries to fight him. And Jason dispatches him with ease, chopping off his hand and then chopping the rest of him to pieces, although we don't get to see that part.
But we do finally get to see the machete and the hockey mask. It's all finally put together.
Yes.
He doesn't keep the machete, though, for very long. So this was just a taste.
Exactly. And so Chris is able to get back to her feet, and she gets an axe and plants it in Jason's head. He staggers forward, and kind of like that scene from Sleepy Hollow where they go to see the witch, and she's all chained up at the table, and all of a sudden she lunges forward, and she's just like inches away from Ichabod Crane. Kind of the same thing here. He gets real close, and then he just collapses. So, yeah.
Maybe dead? I don't know.
Maybe. Maybe. So now it gets into another weird part. She's exhausted. She's traumatized. And she does what anybody would do in this situation. She gets into a canoe and drifts out onto the lake and falls asleep.
As one other person has done in this franchise already.
And how did that work out for her? Not great.
That's so good. Yeah.
Not so good. So, yeah. During the night,
she starts hallucinating, though.
Yeah, she does. And it's this nightmare image where Jason rises again, and we see the decaying corpse of Pamela Voorhees emerge from the water to drag her under. It's all this weird stuff going on. Police show up, and they take her away as Jason's body lies motionless in the barn. And she's like crazy at this point. She's just like kind of laughing crazily and just muttering and just talking to herself. And so it's very strange. And that's where it is.
That's the end.
That's that. Yeah. There's nothing left. That's it. So, yeah.
What a disappointing ending, in my opinion. I was waiting for something else.
I know.
But the weird she was hallucinating him coming after, then it was not. And then we got Pamela coming out of the water, and then that was not. And then just being led away by the police. And we see him lying there. He doesn't move or anything. It was such a weird way to end the entire movie. We don't see him twitch or nothing.
No.
I was waiting for something, but no.
Yeah. And it just literally just cut to black. There's no fade. It's just like, boom, you're done. Credits roll with the cheesy 3D letters on the title come up on the screen that it's like, oh, whatever. So,
oh, God, and the awful, okay, listen, this might be controversial. The techno version of the Friday the 13th theme song kind of thing, I was not a fan, personally. Yeah. A lot of people do enjoy it. It's a little different. Listen, I understand wanting to be different, but I didn't like it.
And that's okay. Yeah.
That's where we're leaving it.
Well, yeah. I mean, my favorite song from any of the Friday the 13th, hands down, is Alice Cooper. He's Back, Man Behind the Mask. Just a great song. I mean, I love that song. Love Alice Cooper too, but yeah, this techno version, it was like, what? Come on.
I know.
Oh, wow.
Well, this is why we enjoy the next one a lot.
Which
compared,
I will invite you back November 13th to take on that one, because I know that is your favorite in the series. So
let's do it.
Cool.
I can't believe it's only March. We got to wait that long.
Well, you'll be back. You'll be back before then. But you have to wait that long to do, part 4.
Fine, I'll just sit here and wait. It's fine.
Okay.
Continue.
Unless we do it sooner. We might do part 5 on Friday the 13th, and maybe we'll do this one sooner. Who knows?
Don't
We'll
tempt me,
figure it out.
Brian.
Okay. Final kill count was 12, a very respectable number. Who was your favorite character?
Oh man. You know, I gotta give it to the stoners, honestly. Both of them, they are a pair in my opinion. Something was obviously either wrong with their weed. I don't know how the 80s weed scene was, but they never actually acted that high.
Right.
Or they have really high tolerance. That could also be the thing. But I think they
Right.
made some pretty simple choices. They got a good popcorn. The popcorn 3D part was actually kind of fun. I
So
enjoyed it.
what did that look like in 3D? You're talking about when he's like catching all the popcorn in his mouth. He's doing it on it's the old stovetop type, before
Yeah.
microwave popcorn. What was that like in 3D?
It was very fun because I think having multiple items coming at the same time towards your face, it's more enjoyable than just like the one-off, like either the spear or the bat early on and things like
Mhm.
that. I don't know. It was enjoyable. Kind of made it whimsical, comical. They are kind of the comic reliefs. Unlike Shelley, he is not the
Right.
comic relief in this. Well, he was just an asshole. But they were more entertaining to watch. They made not stupid choices, even though they were the high ones. Normally, we know if you get high, you're likely to die. And they do
Yeah.
die, but it is
Yeah.
kind of like later on. So they
Right.
survived longer. Mhm.
Yeah, they did.
But yeah, they I don't know, they were entertaining. They were definitely a couple. They had good chemistry. I think I liked them. They were more fun to watch than anybody else. So, what about
Yep.
you?
Same thing. It's
Ah,
Stoner, Chuck, and Chili. I
yeah.
mean, I thought they were kind of the real comic relief in this, as you alluded to, because it sure wasn't Shelley. He was just annoying to me. And I don't know if I understand why the character was there, but didn't care for the character. And the actor who
Yeah.
played him, they actually found him. He was passing out flyers to like this film festival or this other horror film in town. And so they asked him if he'd ever been in one before, and they offered him this part. So
Right. The would you like to be? That
yeah,
good
would you
old
like to
line.
be? We have no money, but actually they did have a little bit of money. I'm sure he got something, but it wasn't going to be anything major.
No, none of
Because
these
most of
guys
the
went off to be stars, that's for sure.
no, and most of the money that they had for this film was put into the 3D. It wasn't, for much else. So
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely not the script. We'll say that.
Favorite kill, I've got a couple. I mean, I would say probably Rick's head crushing kill is my favorite.
Mhm.
Runner up would be Andy's upside down on his hands kill, because I thought that was pretty cool. But I think I'm going to go with Rick's head squishing kill.
I mean, yeah, it's a classic and it is a really good gag. I think I will go with Andy's split because of course, the prosthetic work involved. Very
Right.
interesting. They also used like a flipped camera situation where, he's up in the rafters when she sees the dripping blood.
Right.
But they actually filmed that on the ground upside down, so he wasn't hanging from anything, but it looked like it. And I
Gotcha.
thought, just very interesting perspective work there. So I
Right.
appreciate that.
Right. Favorite scene, anything Shelley's not in, but seriously, probably probably the chase scene with Chris and Jason near the end when they go from the van to the barn. I thought that sequence was actually pretty good, and there was
Mhm.
some tension there. It's a classic chase scene. So I would go with that one probably.
Yeah. I mean, it is pretty good. She is the more violent of the final girls that we get to
Mhm.
see. She actually does some damage. However, I really hate how she screams her location away. Like she's hiding in the closet, finds a dead body, screams.
Yeah.
We know how to silent scream, girls. At least work on it now so that you don't give away your position. That
Right.
bothered me.
Yeah.
I would say I did like seeing Vera get shot down with what I called a harpoon earlier.
That would
I'm
have been
gonna
a
keep
hell of a
calling
thing
it.
to see, though, actually.
Let's add that to the next kill list. Add a harpoon somewhere in there, and I will be there. But I liked just the stupid 3D, but watching it go into her head, and the like prosthetic face and everything looked pretty realistic for them, at least.
Yeah.
In the early 80s. So,
Right.
I don't know.
Okay.
I like that one.
How screwed are we?
We come to this every time. I don't know. I think we would be smarter. We don't get high. We don't have sex in a hammock, especially. We know how to hide our screams, and we don't piss off the people hiding in the barn. They're just trying to chill. I don't know. What do you think?
I think we're probably not screwed very much at all. I think we learned a lot from the first two movies, and because Jason's pretty predictable. And I think, I mean, if we hadn't had no prior knowledge of him, I still think we know enough to not be put in positions where he's going to get us. So, yeah, I think we would probably be okay. Final girl score. I'll give her a 7.
Yep, I was thinking 7.
She was pretty scrappy, like you said. So, yeah, held her own.
Yeah, I mean, she survived. Kind of went crazy.
Right.
But we can't forgive giving away position. I'm sorry. That's
Right.
just, yeah, no.
Yeah. Star grade, it's not my favorite, but I will still give it a 3.5. So, I think there's a few things going on here. Obviously, the hockey mask for the first time. That's just, I mean, this is the birth of Jason, the real Jason that we get to know. I do think that he is a bulkier, more hulking version of Jason that we will now see through the rest of this. This was actually, he was, I believe, a trapeze artist. And so he's able to move, still be big, but still be able to move, really well. So, I think a 3.5 is where I'll land on this.
I will give credit to, this guy, his name was Richard Brooker, I believe.
I think you're close, yeah.
Yeah, something. I'm so sorry that I don't remember it. He is my favorite Jason so far. Very consistent, gives more of he runs a little bit, but not as much as when he was definitely more human based in the last two. Well, he wasn't in the first one really, but in the last one.
Right.
I feel we're getting more into that ambiguous, is he human? Is he supernatural? He gives that good vibe to it. And of course the mask, and we get the shot of him with the machete. It's good. I'm going to give it a 3 though, just because it's still playing way too much off of the other two. And I'm excited to see them change the game, whether it be location, which is not in the next one, but we got a location change, and we got him getting smarter, the kills getting more complex, and not repeating as many of the tropes that have been started by them, which is kind of funny.
Right. Slasher survival tip: if you're spending the weekend at Crystal Lake and someone suggests a midnight swim, maybe just stay inside and lock the door. Call it a night. Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is it for episode number 60, our bonus episode of Friday the 13th, part 3. Thank you, Shay, for joining us and everything. We always have fun when you come in and do this with us and all that. Michael will be back next weekend. We're going to bring you Leprechaun from 1993. We have a special guest. It is the Graveyard Club podcast. They are in Ireland, and they will be sitting in with us next week for Leprechaun. So that is going to be a blast.
That's going to be so much fun. Can't wait to listen or watch.
Lisa,
we got both.
That's right. Subscribe to us, like us, send us your comments, follow us on Insta and Facebook. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel for the video version of Opening Kill. You can also email us at openingkillpod@gmail.com if you want to suggest a movie for us to feature. So again, Shay, thank you for sitting in for Michael. And we will catch up to everybody next week with Leprechaun as we kick off St. Patrick's Week.
Woohoo! Bye.
Opening Kill is produced by Mystic Cloud Productions and hosted by Brian O'Connor and Michael Duran. New episodes drop every Thursday wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And don't forget, you can watch the video versions on YouTube. See you next time, if you survive the opening kill.